The topics and opinions expressed on the funds or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Are you ready to take a journey? Let's connect with the healers of the world. It's that time. It's time for the Language of Healing on W4WN Radio and Talk4 TV. Now here's your host, Dr. Nicole Horton.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again. And another episode of the Language of Healing. And with our co-host extraordinaire, Dean the Pipeman Piper. Hello.
Spit it out. Not you, Nicole. Why are you responding to me to something I'm sending Rebel in the private chat?
Oh, well, okay, so we're talking about LinkedIn. I thought you wanted my LinkedIn
No,
account.
it's on there now. No, I was seeing it missing from the broadcast, so I was private chatting Rebel. But I'm glad you answered. Somebody answered, because you're the only one that answered. I don't know. I think Rebel's sleeping right now. Just saying.
I was not. I was fixing the problem.
Shouldn't have been a problem to begin with. Should have been there.
Yeah, we're live streaming on many platforms right now.
Yes.
And so
we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter.
Yeah. And then the replays all on iHeart.
Well, we're also
Spotify,
live on Talk4 TV and W4WN Radio.
Of course.
But forget the replays, because people are live here now, and we want those people. We'll worry about the replay people later. We want to give first priority to the people that have dedicated their time to our show live at this time. And I just realized, why didn't you tell me I forgot to put my shades on?
Oh, yeah. Well,
But
you know,
I'm
just showing up.
I'll have to fix them now.
No, you're wearing a cool t-shirt today, though.
Is it?
For our visual listeners? I don't know, is it? It's channeling. Oh, amazing. So it's not Marilyn. Is it Marilyn Monroe? Yeah, it is.
What do you think?
I don't know. What does it say at the bottom? Anyway, it's a cool shirt.
Yeah, it comes from one of the conferences. It's a company, but it would be Marilyn if Marilyn was all tatted up.
Yeah. Nice. It's funny. AI.
So tell me, well, that wasn't AI, I don't think. I think that was before AI became such a big thing recently, this shirt. But speaking of AI and this shirt, what about dragons?
Oh, dragons. Yeah. Well, you know,
about dragons, because whatever you're doing before you go to sleep, I want some. I don't see any dragons while I'm sleeping.
Fantasy. No, you don't imagine your life as, you know, a mythical land, fantasy land.
No, that's why
various characters.
No, that's why I live in the outside world and not in a mental hospital.
All right. Oh, there's
you went to your psychiatrist and said you're walking around like your life is a bunch of dragons and all those other things you mentioned. I can assure you that they would be putting you into a 72-hour Baker check.
Oh, come on. Fantasy is like a hugely popular genre. Look at all those video games and TV shows, movies and books, but it comes from somewhere. It's like it's imagination. That's, you know, it's another world. And who knows, dragons actually could be real. You know, that's
well, they could be. But my point is that there's a difference between watching a movie, listening to a song, and actually walking through life thinking that this stuff that you see in a fantasy novel is literally going on around you, literally. That's why they might put you in a mental hospital. I'm just saying. But,
you know,
I am all for it. You just can't let people know you're doing it. Okay?
All right.
That's the whole point. I constantly walk around with all these thoughts in my head that nobody should know that I'm thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
So why not add a fun twist to it, right? I think that's what I'm all about. fun play. It relaxes the body. It creates more possibilities. Like, whoa, how fantastic! But yeah, you're not going to be living in there full
I
time. I
I
am. I
I
am
think
in
I think
reality as well.
Rebel should have came and dressed up as a dragon for this show.
I don't have any dragon attire. I'm sorry. I have other
They
stuff.
don't wear clothes, Rebel. You don't need attire. They don't wear clothes, okay?
Oh my goodness.
If a dragon, okay, Dr. Nicole, if a dragon did wear clothes, what kind of clothes would they wear?
Little booty shorts for sure.
No,
Like,
no, the hint of a segue to Chinese medicine. They would wear like Asian clothes
yeah.
because they're going to their Chinese medicine expert, Dr. Nicole
Mhm.
Horton, and
Yeah,
they
the dragon represents so much in Chinese culture. I'm sure you've maybe seen that. Or there's that famous image. It's like the two dragons around the pearl, right?
yeah.
And it kind of represents the yin and the yang and
By the
the
way, I
duality.
don't think you ever
What do you got?
noticed. Well, all the times you've seen me in person and on the show, you've never noticed that I do have. Let's see,
Tai Chi?
where is it?
Oh,
It's
you're
hard to tell.
disappearing. See,
Yeah,
you're in
it's.
fantasy
I
land
have the
right now.
yin yang,
Okay.
yin
Yin
yang.
yang.
I have a
Yin
ding
yang.
dong and a yin yang right here.
Oh, yeah.
But
You're ready to roll.
but no, seriously though.
Um,
Okay, I
yeah,
want to hear it. If I were a dragon and I were
Mhm.
coming on this show, would want to hear about the 5 spirits in traditional
Would you?
Chinese medicine.
Yes. Well, yeah, thanks for that. Because if you think about the origin, let's go back to the source, like just origin. And if you had none of the modern stuff we have today, and we're just, very basic, what do you have around you?
Is that the
Nature
source?
and
Like,
well,
is that
okay, like
wait. Is that the
yeah.
source like in the TV show Charmed source?
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen that. The source.
Yeah, the
Remind me what
source
that
is
is.
like the source of all evil.
Okay. Well,
So
yeah, I would say it's the same thing. I mean, it's good and evil. It's birthed from everything.
so
Like
what
we've
is the
talked about that before.
what is the Chinese concept on, you know, evil and not evil?
Well, there's the duality of everything. They are born of one another. They rely on each other. It's like they just are what creates unity in a way. The two separates can create the whole, and that's is somewhat the image of the two dragons around. With the pearl and with that yin yang symbol, that one that you see with the black and the white and the dots, right?
The one right
That's
there.
yeah. That's called the Tai Chi. So that symbol represents
So does that mean I
everything.
should wear my tai chi when I do tai chi?
Yeah. Oh, when you're doing Tai Chi, you are doing Tai Chi. Tai Chi is with you.
But when you're doing tai chi, are you
Tai Chi.
doing tai chi?
Tai
That's the
Chi.
question. Does it
No,
go
I don't
both
think so.
ways?
I don't think it goes both
Okay. I
ways.
just wanna
Yeah,
make
it's besides the point. But I mean, it is an exercise and a practice to, and I love mythical like adventures and stories because I think that makes mm, valuable life lessons or concepts that are sometimes so hard to really pinpoint. It gives them a little bit of context and you can relate to it a little bit. And this is, I mean, traditions have been carried through stories, you know um so and that's funny because his history is his story, right? So what we know today could be a different story than what we knew then. It's like a big game of telephone tag, and especially with Chinese medicine. One thing about the five spirits is that it is in really ancient times a critical piece of the puzzle in the mental, emotional, spiritual aspect of physical health. And as we have gone on, I mean, in China specifically, the Cultural Revolution and when Mao Zedong came in, a lot of that stuff changed. Like the spiritual part of it became separate, and we can't really separate these things, or else it's like just one piece of the pie. So now today we have to remember that knowledge, and that's why it's like rediscovering it, because these are, like archetypes or parts of you that are just as active players. So why not just give them a little character? And that's what
I
um
I have a riddle
yeah.
for you, by the way.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
and it has to do with the 5 spirits.
Yeah.
So which one of the 5 spirits would this fall under? So my live show, The Adventures Pipe Man, is tomorrow, Wednesday. Your live show, The Language of Healing, is today, Tuesday. Yesterday, I pre-recorded my live show for tomorrow, The Adventures of Pipe Man, Wednesday, because I'm leaving, going out of town to a wedding. But which spirit would describe the fact that tomorrow my beard is gray and today it's not?
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. A little flashback through time, or time space continuum. I would say that's the spirit of the liver, of the hun. It
Okay.
regulates time.
So
Yeah.
literally yesterday I was in tomorrow, and today it looks like I'm after tomorrow, but I'm actually today.
Yeah. Wow. See?
Did you figure that out? Did you follow Rebel? Did you
I'm
follow that?
Ancient Chinese secret.
yeah. No, it's not Calgon.
What? But my question is, when she does that, why again is it a little girl sound? Like any voice that she does, she defaults to little girl.
I'm so sorry, Pipe Man. It's ancient Chinese secret.
There you go. Nice.
That sounds like a little boy now. That sounds like a little girl trying to be a little boy.
That is
Well,
the day and age, isn't it?
mhm.
Okay, don't Rebel.
Well, children are the best, examples of imagination.
Yeah.
It's like tapping into that playful, childlike quality.
Well,
It's easy
seriously,
to access some of that.
you are absolutely correct, because that's the problem with adults. And I think,
Mhm.
to me, if you're going to get one thing out of traditional Chinese medicine, based on what we're talking about today, it's that just because we become adults doesn't mean we have to squash imagination. And because we're adults doesn't mean we should squash the imagination of children. Because basically, because they do have such imagination, I think children are more open to learning and figuring out things than adults that are hard-headed and refuse to have any imagination and think you're supposed to act a certain way as an adult.
Mhm.
I'm doing
Yeah.
rebel voiceover right now. That was my
Oh,
rebel voiceover. And
that sounded
but
like a scary man.
well, you haven't met Rebel, have you? But anyway, but I mean, do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying here,
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah, and
Nicole?
because one example that I love, relatable, is that movie Inside Out. I think they did a really cool job of
Love that movie.
because there's 5 characters in there, right? And they can represent the 5 elements, the 5 spirits, the 5 emotions, they're all together. Like the 5 is quite a powerful number, so we
What
can
would
give them
your
archetypes and stories, so then it's relatable. So then it's like, oh yeah, when sadness goes missing, or no, what was it, joy, when joy goes missing, like how do we find her again, and what creates, something in someone's life to, you know have that adventure unfold,
so
and then
let's
coping skills.
infiltrate with
Yeah.
traditional Chinese medicine into dating. So
Yeah.
if all 5 of your spirits are existing at one time, how does that work in dating?
Well, they should be all communicating, working in unison.
So if you were out on a
There
date with somebody And all 5 of their spirits showed up, and it like kind of seemed like they were just being, like all those emotions and inside out, they're all talking to each other. But
Yeah.
what if you could
Yeah. Yeah.
actually hear them talking to each other? Then what would
Mhm.
you think?
Oh, well, what would I think? I
Yeah.
mean, then they're all talking together and they're all showing up. And maybe they put one more in the front, like maybe maybe Joy, because she represents like the heart, the fire element. And that's connected, well, I mean, to the heart, literally, but it's like our purpose and our passion. And I think that's a good way to get to know somebody, what motivates them, right? Um, yeah, like you can share some other things. I'm just thinking of like another motivator could be the willpower. Like, you get to know where someone's boundaries are. Oh, that's a good one too. Like
Mm.
that spirit should show up and be like, these are my boundaries. It's
That
very nice to have a clear
Let's talk about
line.
boundaries. Let's
Yeah,
talk about
sure.
boundaries because that word bothers me.
Nice.
Just being serious, okay? Because
Along with overwhelm.
but overwhelm,
Yeah.
there's good reason. This one's different, okay? The boundaries thing is because it's so overused now, okay? And to the point of rude. So, like, because that's the big buzzword in therapy nowadays, everybody you talk to talks about their boundaries. And it's like, you're not allowed to express yourself because of their.
Oh, you got some microphone issues? Sorry. I was listening in. Okay.
Because of their issues, I think he was trying to say. And Pipeman, you are muted.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the boundaries, yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know, what other word would you want to be using? You're still not on there. I can see your arms,
You're muted.
flailing.
Yeah, you know why I was muted? Because I hit the wire on my mic, and that's why I was going like this, so Nicole would get
Yeah.
the hint to keep talking because nobody was going to hear me.
You know what's so funny? I kind of looked down at that moment and I was just listening, so I didn't really see the cue. And then I'm like, uh-oh, radio silence. We don't like this. We don't like this. Now I need to be quick. You're talking about boundaries. So is there another word that you might use? I mean, because I think that it's healthy. It's like the banks of the river.
I think boundaries are healthy.
Oh, now you sound echoey. Like,
oh, really? Hold on.
you're
I
now
keep
you're
hitting
traveling through the space continuum.
so
This is the moment where
excited.
you come
Oh,
out
I
with
know why. I'm so excited about talking about these things that my mic keeps screwing up. But
your handsy talker.
yes, that's
Just knocking everything.
the Italian in me. Okay, like
Yeah.
I'm cursed to be an Italian Jew. The Italian
Curse.
is going to sit there and talk with my hands, and the Jew's going to say, "Speak up."
Right.
So,
So
they have
that's
to live
very,
in harmony together. But what I was saying
there
is,
you go.
okay, boundaries are good. The overuse of it is my problem. Okay, what do I mean by that?
Mhm.
People are being
buzzword.
generally rude. Like, okay, yes, people should have boundaries, but I don't think you always have to express it like that. For instance, if I were to say to you, I don't like that you have long hair. Now, I wouldn't say that to you, but if I were, okay, there's some people out there that that's their boundaries. They take offense to that. You can't say that to me. Okay.
Yeah, but that's
And,
not, I mean, go on. I
but
don't
that's
think that's
what
the
goes
kind of
on a lot
boundaries
with
where,
but that is what
yeah.
goes on a lot nowadays. Okay, if you look at young people going to therapy, the therapists are, I know this from talking to people, the therapists are telling these people you have to exercise your boundaries. But what's happening is the people taking that advice are taking it very literally, like that. It means that only their boundaries count and what somebody else wants to do or doesn't. Like it gets very extreme. It's like you're not allowed to say anything anymore that they wouldn't want to hear you say because you have boundaries. But maybe it's something you have to hear. Okay. So maybe it's like, something that is constructive criticism. Okay. So constructive criticism is not criticism, but it's really just giving you advice to make you better from an objective, subjective point of view. Okay. So if you don't have that constructive criticism, how do you get better as a podcaster, as a radio show host, as a TV personality, as a musician? Musicians get better with constructive criticism. That's why they have a producer that says,
Well, yeah, and like
no,
a coach, and
that
yeah.
doesn't sound. But nowadays with boundaries, it's almost like people aren't allowed to do things like that. It has to be my way or the highway. And that's the problem I have with boundaries is I've
Yeah.
noticed people that are very into the boundaries thing, and that's their attitude, my way or the highway. And
Mhm.
so the engineer, aka Rebel, she could have just said it, but she wrote it in a private chat where nobody can see it. But are the boundaries like walls people put up to protect themselves? And it's themselves, not their selves. Just saying, Louisiana doesn't have a great education system, so she said their selves, but maybe it is their selves. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong. But for the sake of English language, it's themselves. But no, but seriously,
Yeah.
putting up walls is, I think, a different type of boundary. I think that's a trauma boundary. And it doesn't necessarily, as somebody that has put up a lot of walls in my lifetime, it doesn't necessarily serve you. That's the point. That boundary doesn't necessarily serve you. The boundaries that do serve you is not taking certain things from certain people, okay? And having
Yeah.
your boundaries there,
Well, I
okay?
think we were, like, talking about it initially, a few things, like, in regards to dating realm, those boundaries could be your deal breakers, something
Yes.
like that. But I
That's
I
healthy.
also see not healthy, or it is healthy?
I think that is
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Like, knowing what, the confines of what you're looking for, or what best matches you. And I notice as well, even, maybe the college, I hear some people that are, like, teaching, and, at these, you know, not like mid-20s or something age, but not necessarily that age group either. But there's a lot less harmony in the classroom, because there's lots more clashing. And I think that's, yeah, like, to your point of the hard boundary of there's no permeability, or there's no it's, I think, also a miscommunication, and people's communication styles kind of suck,
Key words right
because
there, the communication, because that's where I think the boundaries are
yeah.
the negative, the
Yeah, and,
way
like,
it's
people will go
communicated.
when they want to assert something, people that may have been passive in the past. So then their therapist is saying, "Okay, now you need to speak up, or, clearly state your boundaries," whatever that is. But then
And
it can go, the fulcrum can swing. Now it's, like, aggressive,
well,
and
here's the way I
that's
view it.
off-putting.
I
Okay.
think the therapist's advice is really good. I think how the advice is being taken is the problem. What do I mean by that? When the therapist is literally saying this to you, they don't mean literally to tell people, "Oh, you have invaded my boundaries." It's more like you don't have to take crap from people. So if somebody's treating you badly, you have the right to walk away because you have boundaries of what you're going to take. You have the right to end the conversation because you have boundaries of what you're going to take. The part that I don't like is when they sit there and say, "Well, now you're just violating my boundaries." Why do you have to say that? Why not just, "Hey, I don't want to talk about it. Hey, I don't want to do that." Why does it have to be said like that? To me, and I may be wrong, that is annoying, and I'm going to want to jump right through your boundary for saying it that way. Now, if you said to me, "I'm not comfortable with that," I would totally get it, and I would stop whatever I'm doing. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Because I think that other way is kind of like is not what the therapist means. The therapist doesn't mean say what I just said to you word for word. It means have your own
Mhm.
brain and your own thought process, and within that thought process, know what your boundaries are.
Yeah, and
They're
I mean, it does help
invisible
to
boundaries.
it helps to, if you can, prepare yourself for a moment like that, because maybe out of the reaction or the frustration, something like that comes out, right? So it, and that's maybe overreacting. So practice with something like, I'm not comfortable with that,
Right,
I
and
think
I
for,
have
for for some
I
people who are like, exercising their boundaries,
I have
or
brought
just
out some old pipe man tools that I haven't been using in a while that I'm gonna
okay,
introduce to this show today, maybe if you want, that will
yeah,
definitely describe our point. When
all right,
somebody says to me, "Well, now you're violating my bound," well, let's start. When somebody says to me, "I'm really not comfortable with that," I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool. I understand totally." When somebody says, "You're violating my boundaries," you know what I hear? Would you like to know what I
mm,
hear?
like you just attack. Can't hear it.
You can't
Can you
hear
hear
it?
that, Rebel? What is that?
It's not coming across very clearly.
Okay, let's see if I go further from the mic. Hold on. Did you hear that?
It
It's
sounds like,
patchy.
So
yeah, patchy,
it's
like
this
wah
little
wah 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 wah
yeah,
wah.
this is this pen I have. It's the blah pen.
Oh,
So that
what?
one that was catchy you were hearing was going blah 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 blah. Bleh.
All
That's
right.
exactly what I did. My point is that is kind of what I hear when somebody starts talking that lingo. And so then I'm
Mm,
not listening. That's me.
mhm,
I'm not saying that's
mhm,
everybody. But you have to take into account there's going to be people like me out there, okay? That, you know,
mhm.
you're not going to
So
get your point across.
is this related to your dating? Is this why you brought up dating? Is did
No,
you
no,
violate
no.
someone's boundaries?
No, not at all.
No,
Eh, I
I'm just kidding.
it unless I'm dating somebody in their young 20s because that's usually where that comes from. Not even young 20s. But it's like it's like one of the most popular word that Gen Z people use
Mhm,
is
mhm.
you're violating my boundaries. You don't need to say the word is what I'm trying to say. I think there's
I
a
think
better way for people to communicate, back to what you were saying. How
for
you
sure.
communicate with people is how people are going to react to you. I can tell you the reason why, in my country at least, there's so much arguing going on. It's because of that communication and stuff just like that. Because when a Gen Zer is telling a baby boomer, for instance, which I am not. Rebel maybe is. No, Rebel's not old enough. My ex-wife is. Okay, she's old enough to be a baby boomer. But basically, if a Gen Z is telling a baby boomer about, you really need to stop because you're violating my boundaries and it's making me very uncomfortable, then the baby boomer is probably going to say blah 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 in their head,
Mhm,
because
mhm,
that lingo. So cross generational, I think people need to learn how to communicate with each other using those spirits you're
mhm.
talking about,
Yeah,
because like what I may think is silly, somebody else would think is cool. What I think is cool, somebody else may think it's silly. But I want to say we have one of your fans here. We're going to bring up
yeah.
on the
Got a little
screen.
comment.
Yeah, look, there it is.
Little
Oh, I put it up and Rebel did at the same time, and we keep doing it, it keeps shutting off. Okay, there we go. There you
Hello,
go.
Nicole. How are you doing? Hi, Gary. Doing great. Is this
Every every time I was
is this
putting that
drummer
up there,
Gary? Yeah.
Rebel was doing it at the same time, like we were both doing it, so it kept disappearing. What was
Thanks for
your
tuning
question?
in, Gary. That's awesome.
Tell us tell us about
Question.
tell us about Gary. Is there's something cool you want to tell us about Gary? Is
Gary,
there anything
you want to
Gary
pop in
has?
something?
Is there anything Gary has that you want to plug or promote?
Well, I can't see the Facebook profile, so I've thought if this was someone, um,
Eh,
a new friend, I don't
Oh,
know if
because
I'm getting.
they said hello, Nicole. So I'm assuming they
Yeah,
know you.
yeah, but my name is like here, so
I know.
anyway.
Well,
All
what
right,
if
what
you
do we
do
want to know?
know, Gary, and you're acting like you don't know, and now see, there
Yeah,
we
now
go with
it's
the
weird.
communication.
Thanks for just highlighting that whole bit. Yeah. Well, Gary, if you got a question for us, we'd love to hear more from you.
Or
And
if
if you
Gary
want to
wants to plug something,
plug anything,
put it in the
yes.
comments, and we'll show it on the screen, and we'll plug Gary.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the pipe man. So much
Uh,
fun. You know what? Yeah, so the spirits are having a ball, right? That's the playfulness. Okay, so it gets a little heady. I know this stuff is a little like a lot more. Like there's
I think
5.
it's
So there's
totally cool. So I want to hear about it.
yeah, okay, so each okay, so there's 5 spirits that each connect to an organ. So um like your kidneys, your spleen, your heart, your liver,
Which,
your lungs.
okay, which spirit is connected to the heart? Because I want to kill that spirit.
Yeah, that's the Shen. That's actually your spirit, like the head honcho of the spirit. And
Yeah, Shen has not been nice to me at all.
oh, well, have you been nice to it?
I
Have
tried.
you
I
How is
tried.
your relationship? Here, let me give you some questions for you to consider how
Okay.
your connection with the spirit is. Um, how clear and focused is your mind right now?
Right now,
Or yeah,
clear for what? I'm clear and focused on why Shen keeps being mean to me.
Shen.
Shen.
Yeah. Do you feel emotionally stable and at peace? What are your
Uh,
primary sources of joy, passions in
wait.
life?
One question at a time. Okay.
Okay.
Second question. Say it again. Emotional at peace.
Emotionally stable and at peace with yourself.
Um, Emotionally stable. I would say that's a hard no. And at peace with myself. Yeah, I'm at peace with myself. I'm just not at peace with anybody else.
Okay. So see we can go down the rabbit hole of the contradictory nature of that because they're all pieces of yourself represented. We can look at the macro or the micro, Um how do you manage stress and anxiety?
I ignore the world because they're all a bunch of people that give me a lot of stress and anxiety.
So you got a lot of walls.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
even like get the sheetrock out and build walls over the windows.
Okay, like a bunker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You people
You'd
stay over there. I'll be over here. Leave me alone.
Okay. Yeah. Self-sufficient. Um, okay. I do have another question if you want on that one.
Yes,
Are there
and I
any
want you to ask these exact questions of Rebel.
Okay, yeah,
So
we
give
could
me
do
the
that.
last one.
Are there any recurring thoughts or feelings that disrupt your mental clarity?
I don't know if I should share that live on the air.
Yeah, you can keep those to yourself.
There are. Let's just leave it at that.
These questions are for everybody. Rebel, do you feel
Yes,
emotionally stable and at peace with yourself?
I do. I definitely do.
That is a freaking lie.
How
She
is
is
that a
not
lie?
emotionally stable, not even in the least. I'll give the peace
Why?
with herself.
Why
But
am I
that's because
not
she
emotionally
talks to
stable?
herself every day, and that's why she's at peace. And because
Best
she
advice
talks,
ever.
see, not emotionally stable.
Yes, best advice ever.
If
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
good advice, I talk to myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why you always get bad advice.
No.
See, she's defaulting to the little girl voice.
You know what
See,
happens is because I have headphones on and I can't hear my own voice, so it does that. If I didn't have the earphones on, I could do the voices better. But when I can't hear myself talking, I just assume that it's the same way, and it is all good.
Well, you should be wearing your headphones if you're going to be live on a show. I mean, get with
Right.
the program, will you?
Exactly. So that's why the voice changes like it does.
Okay,
the
what's the next
engineers
question, Nicole?
say as I do, not do as I, or no, do as I say, not say as I. whatever.
Next question, Nicole.
Okay, you know what we've been talking about over the last few shows? This could be interesting and relevant for our next guest. The Yi, which is the intellect. It's the spirit of intellect, and it's associated with the spleen or your digestive system. And it's the one that when it's out of balance will have the worry, or the excessive worry and the feelings of like not being balanced, overthinking. That we were talking about worry. I think it was last time.
So is that like if your digestive system is bad, you're worried about, you might burp or something,
or something might slip out. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Which spirit is that that's worried about you, doing stuff like that?
That's the Yi. Why Yi. It means intellect. So, I mean, these are like,
So if you're worried, you're smart. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you're consuming a lot of energy from your mind, your mental, your thinking. It's, I don't know.
See, because I have my
to be
viewpoints
working
on
harder.
worry, and I think worry is not smart because it doesn't accomplish positive
I'm
things.
I'm not saying it is, because it's kind of a waste of energy is more what I'm saying.
That's what I always say.
Is that you're consuming that energy now goes to overthinking and the worry. And like I said last week, if you remember that the energetics of the emotion worry have a nodding effect. So it like knots your stomach up, and then your digestion is poor because you're not really digesting food at that time. You're focusing elsewhere. So and this one's like the plan, having a plan, a reality check, and the earth, it's represented with the earth element. It's like the soil. So we want to be rooted. So if you're unrooted, then you're oftentimes floating in the head. You can be a little bit more heady versus in your body. So self-care, things that get you more in your grounded in your body and feeling like you have a bit of a plan can help out.
So I do
spirit.
I do think that, yes. Okay. So as far as worry goes,
Mhm.
my stomach twists up when I worry about other people's boundaries.
Yeah, when you violate their boundaries.
No, not violate, when I have to worry about them. Like, I have to think before I speak. Might I violate their boundaries if I tell them their hair looks nice today?
So, yeah. And then you're kind of walking on eggshells, like that, that's not a fun place to be in.
So in that case, how do Shen and Yi work together?
Yeah. Good. Well done.
How do they work together? The Shen is the boundaries. The Yi is the intellect towards those boundaries.
Well, I would yeah. I wouldn't say Shen is necessarily the boundary if we want to get kind of more technical, but
let's get more technical. What's the technical term? I'm just giving the dumb term because I don't know what you're talking about, and I want to make sure everybody else knows too.
And I'm trying to make it make sense, but these concepts are this is why story time is helpful for it.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's have story time.
I get distracted and
I want to hear you tell us a story about all 5 spirits to where I will understand what all 5 spirits are about.
Oh, yeah, I actually did create a story. Maybe you'll like this story of how I created that story.
I'm ready. Hold on, I'm putting the mic down. I'm ready.
The whole story because just taking a break. Because
I'm not taking a break. I want to listen.
Exactly. So I was in visiting friends in Vancouver, and Vancouver is on the West Coast, and there was a concert happening in Seattle.
Vancouver's in California?
No, BC, British Columbia.
Canada. Okay, good. In the United States, when we refer to the West Coast, it's either the West Coast of Florida or it's LA.
Okay. Well, there is a city in Vancouver in Washington on the West Coast, actually. So it is technically, but okay. See,
Go ahead.
Stop it. So from between, I think Vancouver is the only way that, like, the only Amtrak route. So I took the Amtrak from Vancouver into Seattle for a concert, and I had to write this paper about the 5 spirits. And I was visiting friends. I was a little, like, less than 100% on that train the next morning,
I have a
you know?
quick question.
Okay.
Was the concert you're going to, was your motivation to write this stuff about the 5 spirits, was it because Ghost was playing?
And no, it wasn't Ghost.
Okay. I just wanted to
But
find
it
out.
was equally as mythical and storytelling. I'll give you, like, one guess. I'm sure you would guess it.
I
Another
don't
guess.
really care what band was there if it's not Ghost. I just thought that would have been so cool
That would have
if
been
you
kinda
were
cool.
writing about the 5 spirits on the way to see Ghost. Now you ruined the whole story, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know. This is a terrible story. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's a great
Maybe
story. I wanna hear more. I wanna hear the good part.
so I in my kind of, like, I didn't feel, like, very good, but I had to get this done, and I was sitting on that train, and I just went, like, "All right, like, here's the story of the 5, like, the 5 spirits, like, the 5 elements," and it was just, like, imagining. Hold on, let me, get my voice. Ready?
That's what the
Imagine
mute button's for.
I went to look
See,
for it,
I
I
just
wasn't quick
coughed and
enough.
I muted the button. You didn't hear me cough at all.
I don't even know where okay, it's here, yeah.
I
It's
muted
spirits.
it and I put the mic in my face so you don't even know I'm coughing. Like, watch.
I think Rebel can edit that out, maybe.
No,
But
that's a lot of work to edit
okay,
out a
so
cough.
all right. This is a good example. When you need to focus and get something done, this is where you stop, take a breath, and let your energy sink down into your pelvic bowl, down your legs, into your feet, like roots, and you're connecting to source. Yeah, and then now you have options which way you
You
go.
just thought of what I said earlier about
Yeah,
source,
I did.
didn't
Yeah.
you? Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because now it's deep there, right? So just getting into your body, and then I envisioned just laying in a field. Okay, imagine being. This goes back to what I was originally saying at the beginning of this, because it's like, remember a time where there was just, like, nothing but nature, and everything that you notice is information. And so this story of the 5 spirits was that it's like the elements started from the east, and the wind blew, and it touches your skin, and you feel the wind. And that's the first spirit of, like, creativity and inspiration. It's the spirit of the liver. It's abundant, and it provides growth. So then you move on to the other spirits, and I'll have to find the story, but that's how it starts.
Another episode,
you
you'll
know
have to bring that
and then
story on.
I
Eh,
try. Yeah, I will have to find that
I have
one.
a question because the
Mhm.
Chinese are very insightful. Okay. So
Yeah.
one of the spirits is Hun, right? That's how
Mhm.
it's said, Hun. Okay.
Hun, yeah. Hun, yeah.
Now I understand why you're like with your significant other and you call them Hun because
Hmm.
because that's the soul, right?
It's one of them, the Ethereal Soul. Actually, the liver has 3 spirits. We won't get into that, but yeah. So there's maybe your extra. You start
Is
dating
that
someone, and then
why
you
your
start
live?
dating, and then it's like suddenly, "Oh, no. Where did all
Is
these
that
extras come from?"
Yeah, is that why the liver gets damaged from alcohol is because it has this, like, whole party of spirits going on?
Yes. I love this. It's very fascinating. When people are drinking, or alcohol has, um, it helps circulate chi and blood. Like, it increases circulation, right? So yeah, you will often find that the emotions that are trapped in the liver can sometimes be dislodged and moving. So you'll have the really happy drunks, or the really angry ones, like, I don't know, the sad ones, the criers, or maybe just joyful, but I think that is interesting that sometimes those things can come out. I know you were probably maybe joking, but it's actually kind of true.
Well,
And
see, that's why
and
you should joke, because then people can learn.
yeah,
Because
exactly. And that's stories. It makes it memorable, relatable. Like, it's a kind of visceral. If you're laughing or you're engaged in, with it, then you'll remember it more.
now,
And okay, wait, what? I have one more thing. Speaking
yes,
of
go,
ghosts,
go, go.
okay. When you have a big trauma or an accident, I'm thinking like something major, like maybe a car accident or a surgery. It's possible for your spirits to leave your body. And with that void, it also is possible for something else to come in. So,
Oh,
sometimes you'll have an experience and you'll say, like, I'm just not myself after that.
that explains how Pipe Man happened.
Yeah. So by remembering these 5 spirits, you remember more of your true nature and connecting back to source. I still believe there's hope for you, Pipe Man.
Well, let's talk about one of the other spirits, okay?
Okay.
Because it's kind of an
I think I'm like
oxymoron.
I've been crying and my mascara is like
It's like
running
an
down my
it's like an oxymoron, the Poe spirit, because that's for
uh,
corporate soul, and I don't know anybody in corporate America that has a soul, okay?
okay. The corporate soul. It's corporeal.
Oh,
Soul. Yeah, the soul of the corporate realm. Yeah, this one's like connects to the lungs. So it's like it's very animalistic. It's like the instincts. It's almost our animal nature and our physical sensations. Like the skin is connected to the Po or the lungs.
Oh, see, I thought when you were talking physical sensations, I thought this is what you were talking about.
Oh my God, what is that?
It's a special thing from the Pipe Man store called Orgasms in a Can.
Okay. Where do we
Okay.
get some of those? Okay.
Okay,
Buy
so
in the group one.
we talked
Yeah.
about
It's a bonus if you buy today. Get in
yes,
there.
we talked about spirit, and then we talked
Uh-huh.
about the Ethereum, the Bitcoin soul.
Right.
And then we talked about the corporate soul. We talked about intellect. What we
Yeah.
didn't talk about is something that I have a lot of, and it's
Yep.
called, what is it? What is it, Nicole? There's
the
only one left.
or yeah, you can just say willpower.
You
Willpower
can't
is related to
even
the
say
kidneys.
it. Ja? Is it ja? Ja.
My pronunciation with that syllable is a little rusty. It's been a little while since I've been speaking
Well, you
my
better hurry up because you only
Mandarin.
got like a minute and 20 seconds.
Okay, well, willpower, it's like your goal is like what you're doing something for. It's like your driving force, your determination. I think that boundaries can kind of like play in here a little bit because you're like, you're
Now, I will say, there is a fine line between having willpower, the way you're talking about it, and violating somebody's boundaries, because that willpower, too much of that, say the spirit again,
yeah,
yeah,
it's more of like a G,
the
G.
spirit, that can violate boundaries at times. So you have to have that persistence, but not too much that you violate their Shen. So
Yeah, exactly.
don't kick them in the shin,
Yeah.
or you may violate their Shen.
Yeah, and careful not to upset that corporate soul because that thing will come at you like an animal.
Oh, corporeal, for sure.
Corporeal. Okay, well, another fun hour with you. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. W4WN.com. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Tuesday afternoon.
On W4WN Radio, the Women for Women Network, and Talk 4 TV.
And
you
Talk
can
4 TV.
catch the Language of Healing podcast, any part of this show you missed, or if you just want to watch a show and skip over me, you just go to any podcast outlet out there and you can hear the version of the show that's the good one, the one where you're fast forwarding past me.
Yeah, double time. Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks again.
Thanks for being here, Dr. Nicole. Seriously, you are an expert of this area that, I mean, totally helps people and totally helps me because I have no clue what you're talking about. I do, but I act like I don't. And that's really corporeal for me.
Corporeal. Keeping it real.
Keep it real, corporeal. Thanks for listening to the Language of Corporeal Healing.
Yes.
Wow, what a show today. And the journey does not stop here. Come travel the world with Nicole every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time as together we become more fluent in the language of healing on W4WN Radio and Talk 4 TV. See you next week.